Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and yes, it looks like we've got another treat today. We've got an article from Rosalind Layton writing for Forbes. This one is titled, "It's Time to End the SEC's Clarity Charade on Crypto." And so every time that Rosalind Layton writes an article, I always look forward to reading it. And I tell you what, she has never disappointed. Ever since the SEC came out against Ripple towards the later part of December of last year, 2020, she's been on this case. Like, she's been absolutely been following this, getting into the nitty-gritty, illustrating all of the absurdity that the SEC is engaging in. And so I tell you what, the same thing, it was the same case last time she put out an article. I decided I was just going to start recording and read the damn thing. So normally, just in case anybody's curious, like a little how the sausage is made type of information. When I before I record, I actually map out the content that I'm going to do for the day. And so that part of that process is me reading a ton of articles. Most of the articles that I read, I don't even ultimately cover in my videos. Most of them I read in their entirety. Some of them I read, and then I can tell that this is the relevant portion, this is the meat of it, this is what I want to cover, and so I don't necessarily read the entirety of every single article, but I can tell you that everything that I cover in a Moon Lambo Hot Jam, if I'm reading parts of it, that means that I actually mapped that out beforehand, so I actually did cover it. And anytime I'm outside of that, just for the sake of transparency, I don't know if anybody even cares, I always make it known if I actually didn't read something, and this is one of those instances. But the reason I feel so confident is because it's Rosalind Layton, and she has just been laying it down for like the better part of a year, ripping into the SEC, and for good reason, just like we all have been, because they are frankly a bunch of asshats. And so I thought it'd be fun to just go ahead and record this video, and I'm going to run through it and just share with you my initial impression and thoughts along the way, and I thought that would make for a fun experience. We get to experience this for the first time together. How special is that, folks? But look, I do want to be clear, I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos all up on the internet, but it's just a fun hobby. That's all that's going on here. I don't pretend to be some sort of professional or guru. There's all sorts of let's be real. There's no shortage of fake financial gurus on the internet. You can find plenty, and they're awful. But anyway, into the article now. For 5 years, investors and project developers in the $2 trillion blockchain innovation space have been subjected to an increasingly maddening charade that the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has called regulatory clarity. And that's in quotes, by the way. Years of SEC speeches, public statements, meeting records, correspondence, and first-hand accounts from market participants provide anything but clarity for the rules on digital assets or distributed ledger technology, or DLT for short, projects. This is another financial crisis in the making. SEC Chairman Gary Gensler said at an Aspen Institute appearance this summer that the rules are awfully clear on crypto. And that's a quote, awfully clear. I remember that. When he said that, I was like, oh, are they awfully clear? And that's not the only thing he said. There's one time, there's another audio or video clip, you may have seen this one too, I've highlighted it before, where he says, I believe that how did he word it? It was like guidelines or policy, whatever it was, in place surrounding clarity for crypto, the entire cryptocurrency space. He said that it's reasonably clear, and then he corrected himself, and then he said, no, it's very clear. I was like, okay, Gary, you know it's not very clear. That's an outright lie. But of course, he's running the SEC, and he's going to put out the narrative he's going to put out. I get it, but it's not in line with reality, and it's not tricking anybody that's in crypto. We know this is not the case. Anyway, piece continues. In a recent interview with Financial Times, he urged developers, quote, to talk to us, come in, end quote, because the fate of the industry, like all finance, quote, is about trust, end quote. Few can see this clarity, but its absence is so acute that even the biggest U.S. companies in the blockchain industry can no longer count on the SEC to provide any clear guidance other than through a lawsuit. And then there's a subheading here, seeking clarity, Coinbase got a slapdown. Last week, the CEO of the crypto exchange Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, tweeted in an account that is now alarmingly familiar. Other crypto companies have been offering lending products for customers who hold digital assets, and the only publicly listed exchange in the United States wanted to do the same. So Coinbase took Gensler's advice and went in. Yeah, so that is what they've been saying forever, right? Jay Clayton, that little asshat, when he was the SEC chair, he said the same thing. Hey, if you want to go ahead and have an offering, come in, talk to us. Let's do it the proper way. Let's go ahead and get everything properly regulated. Let's go ahead and do that. And so then what happens with Coinbase? Well, I'm sure most of you are aware of the story at this point. They went in and it didn't go well. So anyway, piece continues. They approached the SEC for guidance on their product. Armstrong says the SEC responded with subpoenas for records and depositions, demanded a list of all their clients who had expressed interest in the product, and finally issued Coinbase a Wells notice, which is a warning of impending enforcement action. Armstrong said that by May of this year, the SEC was the only office in Washington refusing to meet with him at all. And here's a quote. They are refusing to offer any opinion in writing to the industry on what should be allowed and why, and instead are engaging in intimidation tactics behind closed doors. And that's a quote from Brian Armstrong, Coinbase CEO. And he said also, meanwhile, plenty of other crypto companies continue to offer a lend feature, but Coinbase is somehow not allowed to. Yeah, so, which is why this is a perfect segue into this next part of the piece, the little subheading, picking winners and losers, because damn it, that is exactly what the SEC is doing. They're doing it by attacking Ripple. They're doing it by giving Ethereum a pass. And again, we're not privy to their private conversations and all the shenanigans that's making the reality what it is today. But it's pretty damn clear at this point that the people at the SEC that gave Ethereum the free pass, and it was not just Hinman. I don't care if he says it's just his opinion. No. It wasn't just former SEC Director William Hinman. There were a lot of other people that had hands in this. But they're doing it because they have vested interest in the long-term viability of that, that's what it looks like, right? And so you see this all, and you just kind of ask yourself, like, how the hell is this justice? And the answer is it's not, which is why I'm so repulsed. And then they don't care to the degree. Think about this. Not only did they do it's like it's one thing to give a cryptocurrency like Ether a free pass, and the Ethereum Foundation, they're all in the good, and Joseph Lubin and Vitalik Buterin, even though they actually had an ICO selling unregistered securities, the Ether token. It's one thing to do all that, but then to actually attack another one, Ripple and XRP specifically, and then cause billions of dollars in damage, like that's even worse. That's what they're doing. And so here with Coinbase, as she's citing here, they're again picking winners and losers. And the piece continues. Coinbase isn't the first case of the SEC picking winners and losers in the crypto space with its regulation by enforcement approach. The breathtaking case of SEC versus Ripple Labs has exposed the incoherence of the SEC's concept of clarity. The agency argues that XRP, the native digital currency used by Ripple and other companies on an open-source, decentralized ledger, has been an unregistered security since it was introduced in 2013. And the company, its executives, and every investor in the market should have known that. Oh yeah, think about that. Wow. I sure feel silly now for not recognizing that. I must have been the only one, Moon Lambo here, that didn't know that XRP was a security. No, nobody thought it was a security. Nobody did, except for the... Actually, I take that back. I was about to say except for the SEC, but I don't even think they believe it. I don't think they believe it satisfies the Howey test. I really don't think they do. I think they're just arguing stuff, and it's a power grab and a money grab. That's what it looks like to me, because it doesn't make logical sense. It simply does not. It's that bad. It's completely outrageous, and this should be a slam dunk win for Ripple. That's what I think. And then the piece continues. The SEC has been forced to admit in court that it never gave fair notice prior to lawsuit to any market participant, and there were many, who sought guidance on XRP that it was a security. Accounts of meetings have emerged in which Ripple's executives pleaded with then SEC Chairman Jay Clayton in 2018 that they were in purgatory over the lack of clarity on XRP status, and Clayton provided no guidance other than to keep talking to his staff. When the lawsuit came in December 2020, it not only charged the company with 7 years of unregistered securities trades, but the executives with recklessly aiding and abetting those trades and demanding billions of dollars in fines. The action sent XRP plunging, set off panic selling among millions of holders, and wiped out $15 billion in value. These are bad people, folks. These are bad people. How do they even sleep at night? Like, it's disgusting what they've done right here, and they know it. And if you've been following my channel for the duration of this trial, if you've been following it with a certain amount of regularity, I'm highlighting everything that the community, the XRP community, has found, including attorney John Deaton, who has done quite a bit of research on his own, obviously, because he's the attorney that's seeking to intervene in the SEC versus Ripple case on behalf of roughly 19,000 XRP holders. But it is crystal clear. Like the amount of evidence is overwhelming that the SEC's position does not make sense. It does not compute, and yet they're arguing it. And so, like, what the hell are we even supposed to do with that? And so, while the SEC hammers Coinbase and Ripple, it gives Ethereum a pass. Ether was launched in 2014 in what platform creator Vitalik Buterin called a sale for anyone to purchase, which is a quote, by the way, better known as an initial coin offering. Buterin also arranged the sale of 500,000 Ether to hedge fund investor Mike Novogratz in 2015, which Buterin himself credited as having guaranteed the platform's financial survival. This means there were centralized sales of huge quantities of Ether and an expectation of a profit from speculative investors who bought it. Joseph Lubin, a co-founder of Ethereum, spent much of 2018 giving effusive speeches about how well it was going for his project after he and a group of Ethereum-connected investors and lawyers went in to the SEC in March of that year to lobby for Ether not to be declared a security. And in June 2018, those efforts paid off when SEC Director of Corporation Finance William Hinman delivered a speech declaring that Ether was not a security, a quote, putting aside the fundraising, end quote. Why are we putting aside the fundraising, folks? Why is Hinman saying putting aside the... No, don't put aside the fundraising. That should be front and center resulting in a lawsuit. But it's not. And then the piece continues, it had decentralized over time and was not subject to SEC regulation. The price of Ether on the secondary markets has increased 600% since then. And in contrast, the SEC said in the Ripple lawsuit that XRP has been a security from 2013 to the present day, and that it has never had any utility apart from being an investment contract in Ripple. Some 19,000 aggrieved XRP holders and developers with no connection to Ripple are vociferously contesting in their motion to intervene in the case. The contradiction is glaring. And so follow the money, right? Well, without congressional oversight, a regulator can run roughshod over the law. Why was Ethereum blessed while its rival Ripple was sued? Why does Coinbase get a Wells notice while crypto lenders like Aave, I'm not sure how to say that, I've seen this written, but I haven't heard it pronounced, AAVE, I'm sure some of you out there know how to say it. Is it Aave? Why? I get side rant. Why do companies create names that like you cannot intuitively pronounce? Like you look at it and you're just like, what the hell do I do with this crap? It's like when people put like the letter X in front of something. Like, remember when Ripple, and like you know I love Ripple, right? But remember when Ripple launched Spring, and it was spelled capital X PRING? Remember that? It was like the funding arm of Ripple, effectively, which has been basically rebranded now at this point. But it was XPRING, and so people would look at that and be like, "What the hell do I? Is that a word? Like, how do I say that? Is that a word?" And people were saying like Xpring. and it was supposed to be pronounced spring. Like, this is not intuitive, people. Just have simple, maybe real words. Like, use a real word, I guess. I don't know. Or if you're using a fake word, make it something that's more intuitive to pronounce. What do I do? Like, ave? Do I say ave? Or av? A v? What the hell is this crap? All right, side rant over. Really grinds my gears, folks. Anyway, why does Coinbase get a Wells notice while crypto lenders like nope, no, I'm just moving on. Built on the Ethereum platform get a pass? Jesse Powell, CEO of Coinbase's rival Kraken, tweeted a response to Armstrong that regulators are beating down good actors because it's convenient, and asked, who is behind the effort to drive domestic businesses and consumers offshore? Angry XRP holders point to Clayton and Hinman's business ties to Ethereum before and after their SEC tenures. Powell implies that established financial actors welcome regulatory chaos to protect their revenue of transaction fees if it deters crypto's disruption of traditional business models. And so then you have this question, will Congress do its job? And that's a legitimate question, I would say. The U.S. has enjoyed a fintech boom, but that doesn't mean it will continue. The continued clarity charade is driving fintech innovators and investors abroad. SEC Chairman Gary Gensler will appear on Tuesday for a Senate Banking Committee oversight hearing. Is actual oversight going to happen on the SEC's regulation by enforcement? Will senators challenge him on the clarity charade? Will Congress legislate if Gensler refuses to act? Many angry and frustrated people, American employers, investors, and voters, will not wait much longer. The SEC is supposed to provide clear, unambiguous rules through a transparent process. Lack of clarity has created financial crises before, and it can happen again. Golf clap for Rosalind Layton. That's an excellent piece. See, this is why I'm saying, I could have just read through this and then immediately reread it as I'm recording the video, but I've read all of her work on this topic, all of it. And I've just read enough of it where I was like, why even bother reading it first? Like, she knocks it out of the park every single time. So I regret nothing. That was absolutely fantastic. And we got to experience it for the first time together. How about that? That's a good time. It's kind of romantic. So let me know what you think below, guys. But I think she's absolutely hitting the nail on the head here. And I'm an optimist. I'm a realist, but I'm an optimist. And those two things are not mutually exclusive. So I think ultimately this is going to get worked out. It's just kind of a question of, like, is it actually going to be the case that the SEC gets to keep operating the way that it is, and we actually have to deal with them acting the way that they are, meaning that we'll get clarity for the space, but it's going to be through years and years and years and years of regulation by enforcement? Is that the case, or is there going to be enough of an outcry that we can basically insist that there be change? Because I mean, if there's enough pressure coming down on them, one would think that they'd have no choice. If there's public outcry, if there's sufficient public outcry, one would think that they'd have to kind of adjust the way that they're approaching all of this here, and they should. Regulating by enforcement, as far as I'm concerned, it's unethical, it's not productive, and it harms investors. Like, it's just, I'm disgusted by it, absolutely. So I guess you guys just tell me what you think below. But yes, I'm with exactly like Rosalind said this. It's time to end the SEC's clarity charade on crypto. There is not clarity. They know there's not clarity, but they're pretending that there is, and they think that they're just going to keep getting away with it. And I hope they don't, because we're not stupid enough to fall for this crap. And thankfully, the world of crypto is gigantic, and the XRP community is huge, and there's a huge spotlight pointing right on this. And crypto people not be happy, right? And I mean, obviously the XRP community, but it seems like it's just growing because it's becoming increasingly clear that all of crypto is under attack. And on the bright side, we're actually seeing a lot of people that are not fans of Ripple and are not fans of XRP, and I think for silly reasons, but that's fine. People don't have to agree with me on that stuff. A lot of them, some harsh critics of Ripple and XRP, are coming around, and they're defending Ripple and XRP. It's been truly astonishing. I think that, and that's good though. Like, the army's increasing, even if they're not going to ever think that XRP is a good cryptocurrency because they enjoy being wrong about stuff. I'm just having a little fun with it. Even if that's the case, like, the army's getting bigger. Like we are calling out the SEC for their nonsense behavior, and that's just going to result in more pressure. So hopefully that will yield results that are in line with what we're hoping for. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.